executive session.
So,
Got a motion?
I'll say.
Got a second? Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Executive session. Entertained motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Coming out of executive session, I'll read the certification of executive session. Whereas the Tazewell Town Council has convened an executive session on this date pursuant to the affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas 2.1-344.1 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this council that such executive session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved, the Tazewell Town Council hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the executive session to which this certification resolution applies. And 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the executive sessions were heard, discussed, or considered by the Tazewell Town Council. Certified with a roll call vote. Councilman King.
Aye.
Councilman Fox.
Aye.
Councilman Klein.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hankins.
Aye.
And Councilman Wills.
Aye.
All right. Resolution carries. And with that, I will call to order the public hearing. And this is for the ordinance for closure of the portion of Bishop Street. Notice is hereby given that on Tuesday, January 13th, 2026 at 7:15 p.m. in the council chambers of the municipal building for the town of Tazewell, here further known as the town, located at 211 Central Avenue, Tazewell, Virginia. The Tazewell Town Council will hold a public hearing pursuant to Virginia Code, subsection 15.2-2006, and Town Charter, section 2-304, to provide the citizens of the town an opportunity to be heard with respect to a proposal to vacate a portion of Bishop Street. A copy of the plat depicting the proposed area of Bishop Street to be vacated is available for review and inspection during normal business hours, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Town of Tazewell Municipal Building as referenced here and above. With that being read, do we have any public comment on this issue? Going once, going twice. With that, I will close the public hearing. We will reconvene at 7:30. Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vice Mayor Hankins, you want to give an invitation?
Sure. Let us pray. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to get together tonight, Lord, to discuss town business, to work to move the town forward. Lord, we ask that you give us knowledge and wisdom to make the appropriate decisions best for the town of Tazewell. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Be seated. First order of business is Tazewell High School cheerleader boosters support request.
Is anybody here from the cheerleaders?
Now, I do have information on this. Well, no. I was supposed to have information, whatever it's where I have it.
Now, I don't mind giving or helping out cheerleaders, or, Tazewell High School kids. It's just, haven't heard anything from the town. What's the county helping them out, or?
I do know that they have approached others and they are trying to have fundraisers to help supplement their need.
Okay, I mean, I don't mind, doing
Well, look, I know they have a basketball game tonight, and that's probably why they're not able to be here. But,
we have the band, we have the players. I know that it's a trip to Florida, and I know they had an event at the Wave Fair on Friday night. So I just think we go ahead and vote on this, and I do think we give them something.
And I do know that it's 11 members from the band.
Yes. So they have been, they have an opportunity to compete in UCA Game Day National Cheerleading Competition in Orlando, Florida. Their goal is to raise $20,000. They have 11 cheerleaders and coaches. The flight is approximately $220 per athlete. Rooms and passes, $25 per athlete, and then additional expenses for meals and transportation. I know that they would appreciate anything that you all would be willing to give. And also, if you need your donation guideline, it is on the front if you choose to do that.
What is that guideline?
It was 11 participants. Yes, still on cheerleaders.
That's right.
The guidelines are 100 to 500 for 11 to 15.
I make a motion that we donate $300 to our cheerleaders.
Second.
Here's a
Second,
second.
everybody saying aye.
All right, I've got a motion to donate $300 in a second.
So it's 1 to 10, right?
We did 300, here's your range for 11 based on the guidelines that we've set to keep things active.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to donate $300 to the cheerleaders. Any discussion?
I'd like to, at least 400 for them. Maybe help, they call it kids, if we fly, I mean, do something. I'd like to do 400.
All right,
I mean, you've already made the second one.
right, we already have the motion and the second. Unless there's any intent to change that.
No.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The motion carries to donate $300 to the Tazewell High School cheerleaders. All right, next order of business is local business recognition. We have Mountain Laurel Mercantile and Hardware. Aaron and Renee there. Would you like to please come up and tell us a little bit about your business?
So, we purchased the old Napa building. We are now Mountain Laurel Mercantile and Hardware / the old Napa. We probably will be there for the record. But my husband had a dream of having a hardware store. And my daughter had a dream of having a bookstore. And I just had a dream of being able to purchase a gift without leaving Tazewell. So we kind of made it into an old-fashioned mercantile / hardware. I know some of you've been in.
It's nice.
Thank you. It was just made with Tazewell in mind, so that we could provide a service without having everyone have to leave and go to Woodville or leave and go to Lowe's or Princeton or wherever. So we wanted an environment where people just come in, you can sit, you can talk, you can tell stories. Hopefully this summer we'll have some benches out front where you can just sit and enjoy. The hardware, House Texan is our distributor. They distribute a lot of larger hardware stores, but they also do a lot of the smaller mom and pop stores. So everything is very good quality. We are insistent on having that reputation of having a good quality product. And we have some flyers. Our official flyers have not come in yet, so
Well,
We have everything.
We can put those out front, so we'll put those out front.
So we have fishing, we have hardware, we have books, new and used. We do have a book club that we do once a month, and it was a great success. And I think 17 have already RSVP'd for our next book club. Material, yarn. We have a refill station. If you've seen the Tazewell Today video, it was quite awesome. We were not expecting that and was very happy with that. So we have a little bit of everything.
Have y'all been over there?
I've not had a chance to get
Well,
out.
I have, and it's a nice place to go to, and the prices are not that high, and I'll probably be going back out there and get some more stuff.
Well, please do. We're committed to the community. I have 2 other businesses here in town, and it keeps us quite busy. So,
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
have, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna let you do the,
Yeah.
or no. I'm just glad you're here.
We got a little gift for you, for like this, for new businesses, and show them our appreciation. So, if you don't mind, I'll steal a picture of Jerry out of this. Well, where's the best spot for us to make? Right here?
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Always nice to recognize new businesses. All right.
We were going to have a business that had been in business for a long time, but the one that we had chosen was not available to come to this meeting, but next meeting, they're going to be here.
Always love to recognize all businesses too. Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes for the council meeting on December 9th, 2025, and the special call meeting on January 5th, 2026.
Motion to approve.
We've got a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We've got a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next, we have the approval of financial statements and financial report for December 2025.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next, we have committee and conference updates. Planning Commission Committee, zoning, building, and property maintenance official, Bert.
January 5th, which was last Monday, we had a meeting. We had a businessman come in and was kind of testing the waters on purchasing a lot beside the police station behind CDS. I don't know if we voted on anything, Brad? I don't think we did. If he goes through with the buying of the property, he'll bring us plans and a site plan, his intention with the property. It has come up that he was wanting to put in an indoor store, single building with rooms inside of it. That's his plan for that lot. Nothing official yet, he'll give us a site plan. When we add or take away anything that he's got there, then send it up to y'all.
Did he give an estimate on when he's gonna be coming back, or is it?
It might be next month, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm supposed to be bringing some more paperwork next to the building, right?
The site
The site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't storage buildings like you see
That's
out
what-
there now. It's just one big building with a storefront and inside the store. You gotta go one door to get in the building. Might have to. That's the only thing we have for that meeting.
Thank you. Next is Tazewell Today. Anyone from Davis? Anything correct?
So I wanted to give you a couple of things that we have coming up. So we're inviting for your participation and support in these events. So January 19th to the 21st, or 25th, Tazewell Today is sponsoring Restaurant Week. So this is just Tazewell Restaurant Week, and I believe we have all of the locally owned restaurants participating. So it's a week-long celebration of our local restaurants. Participating restaurants will feature a signature dish or special, encouraging restaurants and visitors to dine local during the winter season. So this is an economic development initiative. When people choose to dine locally, those dollars circulate through our community. They support jobs, small businesses, and local tax revenue. So this event is designed to create a little bit of momentum at a time of year when most of our restaurants need it most. I believe the only one that we do not have participating is not currently open because they take off January.
It's my birthday.
To encourage participation, we are doing a raffle as part of this. So diners who eat at participating restaurants can enter a chance to win a $25 gift certificate to one of the participating restaurants. Tazewell Today is purchasing those gift certificates directly from the restaurants. Then we will handle all the entries, winner selection, gift card distribution, all of that stuff, so it should be easy for the diners and the businesses. So we'll be promoting Restaurant Week through local media. I believe that we already have radio ads out right now, so it'll be on the radio, social media. I've got a couple of interviews lined up for this, so they'll be in restaurant signage. I'm picking that up on Thursday. So we invite you all not only to help us share Restaurant Week, but to come out and participate by dining in one of the local restaurants and encourage others to do the same. So the other one is our annual Polar Plunge, and I gave you all flyers on all of that. So that is taking place February 28th. Polar Plunge is a peer-to-peer fundraiser in which participants collect pledges from friends, family, supporters, enemies, anybody that wants to give you money. I'm sure, if you don't like someone, give them money to jump in the lake. So it's a very chilly plunge into the lake for a good cause.
It's a wonderful thing to watch.
It is. You can participate, come on.
You did it.
I did. Proceeds from the 2026 Polar Plunge are going to be split evenly between Tazewell Today and the Billy Wagner Park project. And I know that you all are very familiar with the Billy Wagner Park project. So we are challenging you all to join the fun. Register as an individual, form a group, represent your office, come jump in the lake. Participation is a lighthearted way to connect with residents, support two local initiatives, and show that community leadership sometimes means being willing to get a real cold for a great cause. It blends civic pride, community spirit, and just enough bravery to make it memorable. We hope to see you all there. I know I've already got Joe to commit to jumping in the lake. Yes.
Let's all lock arms together yet, please.
Yeah. So, and I've heard that the previous mayor's recognition at the lake. So if anybody in good with them, see if you can make that happen. So, we just appreciate your all's continued support. Tazewell Today, right now, we're in the middle of doing our work planning and our budget for the coming up year. I'm also in the middle of all of my Virginia Main Street and Main Street America reporting. So hopefully by next month, I should have a lot more data that I can bring to you all. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. All right, next, comprehensive plan review subcommittee, it's your line.
Yeah, so every 5 years, the town creates a comprehensive plan, and the intent of this plan is to lay out a structure for us to focus our efforts over the next 5 years. in our January meeting, we collaborated, we had a meeting with the Planning Commission, the Industrial and Economic Development Authority, and our town council, and we formed a subcommittee to continue these efforts, hopefully help out in this end, and allow this comprehensive plan to have thumbprints from appointed and elected leaders for the town. What we want to do in this update for it is first talk about where we were focusing. So the town's comprehensive plan is a fairly large document. In the latter half of that document is where you have your goals and objectives, and also your implementation plan for how you're going to execute this over the next 5 years. Now, what we want to do is advertise this to the public. Our next meeting will be held on February the 2nd. It's Monday. And you check that real quick. February the 2nd, it's Monday, and it will be at 5:30. So the IEDA meets first at 4:30. The Comprehensive Planning Subcommittee will be at 5:30, and then the Planning Commission will be, right, 6:15. So it's a wonderful night of town public events, public policy setting. It's really riveting. We're going to be focused on our goals and objectives for the next meeting. In looking at this document, there's some support that we do need from the town. We briefly talked about this, but the first part of the document is a community profile on Tazewell, the town. So our housing looks like, what our demographics are. My question to you, and what I think we need assistance on, is we have a make or buy decision on this. So do we make this product internally? We definitely want to be heavily involved with the crafting of it, but there may be elements to this that we need to purchase. If you look at the existing comprehensive plan, there are site drawings and designs. Several of those locations we don't even own, so it's kind of hard to implement a plan on something that you don't own. We definitely think that a better product can be created that would hopefully steer your future efforts, but we may need help on that. My recommendation would be to check in with the email one. I don't know how we did it in 2021. Was it just created internally or not? Based on the drawings that are in it, it looks like there's outside support on it.
Do you know offhand?
All the drawings and everything was done 10 or 15 years.
Okay.
I think
So maybe not really updated, and it was purchased once and then never really.
Hill Studio, I think.
It looks like Hill Studio. Yeah. So they're nice drawings. I know our deadline that we're aiming to have this product created is September, correct? And we want to bring that to your attention now because there's going to be an element of that that's needed to make it polished product. So February the 2nd, 5:30, we are soliciting input from our town and our community to make this a Tazewell vision, not just your elected leaders who have to show up to these meetings, type vision. So all are welcome. Should be about an hour, and let's have a public discussion. So that's the update on that. Any questions? All right, thanks.
All right, next on the agenda is unfinished business. First, we have the second reading and approval of zoning map corrections for Riverside Drive properties, BMW Auto and Apple Farm Bureau to be zoned from B2 to R2.
Can waive, so this is very short, but if you choose to, you've already had the first reading, so you could waive the second reading by appropriate motion, but, or not, I'm reading.
I'll make the motion to waive the second reading.
Okay, you got a motion?
I'll second.
We got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries. So we waive the second reading. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the zoning map corrections.
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion? Do I have a
Second.
We got a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion carries. Next on the agenda is the second reading and approval to add a zoning use for B1, B2, and M1 to allow fire, police, and local government services. Attorney Pyatt.
Actually, this was for what you had advertised was for to permitted uses in a general B2 zone. What this for, and it was actually adding a use for municipal facilities, adding subsection 21 to our uses under section 23-48. We have already had a first reading, so, you know.
So we can waive this one with a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We got a motion? A second, we're waiting for reading?
I'll second.
Okay, we got a second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. And now I'll entertain a motion for approval of, make sure, what was the proper title?
It will be, under use of the subsection 21, municipal facilities, which will be administrative, public safety, and public works.
So I'll entertain an approval to adding the use to what you just said.
I'll make the motion.
I've got a motion,
Second.
I've got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Any motion carries. Manager Regan.
Just to bring as a point of note on this particular passage, you may recall the county attorney did make an appearance at the last, county administrator, Eric, made an appearance concerning as to when this was going to take effect. I know that there was any more discussion.
He did reach out to me yesterday and asked, once this is voted upon, how long would it be that he could move into and start operation of a fire department?
They already, they were purchased, built.
It's waiting on this.
So this goes 30
Do they
days.
just make an emergency?
Well, and that's what I was going to look. Technically, if this is one where, if you look for our definitions for emergency, it's under section 3-82 of your charter, actually. Give me 1 second. All orders and resolutions passed by the council shall be in effect from and after 30 days from the date of their passage, except if the council made by the affirmative vote of 2/3 pass emergency measures. I know that there was a concern from the county about getting these vehicles under cover for purposes of keeping the hoses and things from freezing up. I think this could at least fit the definition. It's not necessarily your words, but it is one for the county, and it does potentially affect property of residents of the county and possibly the town. So I think if you wanted to, I think you've got the latitude here for a motion to request that it take effect immediately, and on affirmative vote, have it go ahead and be effective as of today. So therefore, there's not going to be a 30-day wait for the ordinance to pass. Take effect, if you passed it, effective today, it won't take effect ordinarily for another 30 days. So you could do that, and I think this would be an appropriate time to do so.
So this will be a completely separate motion.
Yeah, it would be. If it passes an emergency measure to take effect immediately.
Okay. That being said, I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make the motion. And go with the emergency plan.
So,
Okay, we got a motion and a second to pass this ordinance immediately under emergency guidelines. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay.
and
That's
Joe,
unanimous.
and Mayor, you would back up and also do the same thing then for the other ordinance. We had one for the use and then one for the zoning change. And I think to make it effective, I think we need to adopt both as emergency to take effect immediately.
Okay. So that one was actually for the second.
That was for the one for the
The
municipal
use.
facilities definition of use. And then now do one for the actual redesignation of the properties from residential R2, business B, general B2
Okay.
as emergency.
All right, I'll entertain that motion to pass agenda item 9A as an emergency ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we've got a motion,
Second.
we got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. That was unanimous as well.
Thank you. The county will appreciate that.
Okay, now we'll move on to 9C, the fireworks discussion. Manager Reed.
At our last meeting, we held a discussion about getting some personnel in-house, trained and certified to set off our own fireworks. The purpose of that was so we would have more flexibility when we could choose the date we would set them on. Police Chief Lampert did reach out to the state fire marshal. There's a letter in your packet. There are about 6 different steps in this letter. I want to read them off, and then Chief, if you will help me out if we have any questions. The first step is making an application through the Virginia Fire Marshal's office. Second step is a background check. The third is fees for application. The exam fee and certification would be $280. They would then be approved or denied. If they are approved, they can take the exam. I understand that this exam is very difficult. They would need to attend and participate in 6 events with a certified pyrotechnician. They must complete the 6 events within 24 months, and it does not have to be in the state of Virginia to complete those events. So with that being said, I'm not saying it's impossible to do it for this year, but the time frame would be very tight for them to make the application, get approved, take the test, and then get your 6 events in.
How many is requesting to do this? I mean, employees and firefighters. I
It
think
would
there's
be,
several that I've looked at.
it would be up to you all, how many would you want us to get certified?
The cost is like, what, $350 or something like that?
I believe the exam fee is $130, the certification fee is $150, making the total $280.
That's the travel costs to get the
Yes,
6 events.
yes.
One thing we also discussed, I'm assuming the fire marshal has like a registry of when events are about to take place, and we can try to.
In Virginia, yes, sir.
Right.
He did say that it did not have to be Virginia, it could catch football games, beaches or whatever that does events, just as long as they were with someone that was certified. However, he did throw out there, and I did not put that in that letter, but he did throw out and say, is the squeeze worth the price that you could possibly pay for liability for one time a year? He said if he's going to do it more than once, it might be worth it, but if he wasn't going to do it more than one time a year, his opinion, personal opinion to me as a fire marshal, was y'all really need to study that before you make that move.
Well, and I think part of our discussion before was also if we were able to do this and make it readily available as well as a cheaper option.
Sure.
We could possibly do more fireworks shows.
And I did tell him that was on the table, and he said, well, if that's what you are looking at, but just keep in the back of your mind the liability that will come with that, whoever your technicians are.
But we would also might do it for the fireworks. If it's yearly,
I would have to refer to the madam manager of first on that, I don't know.
Can you repeat the question?
I said, what would be the cost for one of our employees to do the fireworks? And what's the coverage on insurance funds for liability?
I have not gotten any type of coverage liability from our insurance carrier Versa. So I don't know what that might look like.
And I don't know that it would really raise the rate per se. I mean, we are covered through Versa for multiple things. I don't know that it would. I guess that's a question for them, but I don't know that it would change our rate unless something happened.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Guess the manager to go ahead and see what we need to be covered on and the liability issue. I'd like to see at least 2 or 3 firemen be certified in this.
I don't think it's worth the squeeze. Basically, we do it once a year. If you had it, maybe twice. It's gonna take at least 3 meetings. One man can't do it.
I said 2 or 3 men.
I heard what you
Yeah,
said.
you did your work, didn't
All right,
you?
let's keep.
I'm sorry.
New Year,
I'm
Dave.
But what I'm
I'll
saying
take that
is,
back, I'm sorry.
the time,
Excuse me for being rude.
the timetable that we're dealing with. I mean, this is January, and this event is July. You're not gonna get them sent to school, get them certified, pass the test, and be able to do 6 events. I just don't think,
So I want to introduce a few ideas, right? So one, as far as the juice worth the squeeze, if our fire department has this certification, does that give us a revenue opportunity to facilitate fireworks for other municipalities and could be an additional revenue driver? We're spending $11,000 a year, and that's us trying to keep the costs in, to have a fireworks program that's never on the Fourth of July. It's a big anniversary this year.
Richlands did that. They came up one year to do fireworks. Am I right?
I'm sure you're right.
Yeah, they came up here and did fireworks for us. So they had certified men down there. But I don't know if they got them now or not.
But
This saves a lot of money, I can tell you that right now.
there could be an angle in that regard, in terms of getting their continuing training hours and doing that. But the other thing that I think you could introduce to it, it's like, okay, we'll inspect and see what the insurance impacts of that are and whether it's viable. But you could put this back on the individuals who want to get certified. Like, okay, show me your training program, show me the events that you're going to attend.
But you have to remember too, they're volunteers and not employees. They're volunteers.
Right. And every individual volunteer that I've encountered is extremely, they do want to be volunteering, they want extremely passionate for this position. And I think that getting this certification and being able to set off fireworks, I wouldn't be surprised if you have some volunteers who would say, all right, I'll do the legwork to see what events I can attend. And it doesn't put any cost, any more administrative burden on Ms. Leanne, her staff. Say, show us what you got. We don't have to kill it yet, is what I'm saying. We can say, let's inspect it a little bit further. Because if it's not this year, well, maybe it's worth doing in future years.
Yeah, I think the timeframe should be very tight to get it in this year.
Well, that was the last thing I was gonna say. I interrupted you, I'm sorry. But if it doesn't have to be in state, you go down to Dollywood in the spring, Dollywood's doing fireworks every night. It's the closest amusement park that we have, and it's like a nightly thing. And I know Dolly. She would love for our fire department.
Well, I had almost talked myself into doing it till I talked to the fire marshal. I was going to assist the fire department, and he scared me, I backed out. However, I do know that John's got some people that is wanting to do it. I do know that factually. Some of his people has talked to me about it, and I know because they had understood that I was reaching out. I do know he does have some folks that is very interested. As I said, it sparked my attention that night, and then when I made the phone call, I'm like, that's somebody else's.
Well, one thing I would think, going on what Councilor Clark said, checking with the insurance on that, if we turn it into a revenue stream where we go out to another location, that's another insurance issue we would need to look at as well.
And I think the burden would come back either to the town or that individual, and it's probably gonna come back to that individual if they're doing anything from other than the town. Maybe that's a Brad can give more information on that, but I think that would be more of the individual unless the town is doing the contract itself.
And we would also need to.
John Thompson's got a good group of men that's, I think, they're intelligent. John's doing a great job.
Thank you.
And we would also need to look at possibly, if we were willing to pay for the training, what's to stop certified pyrotechnics operator to go into a business of their own to go do that individual, or contract out to do that on their own. So we would need to see if we're gonna pay for the training, and it could be a revenue stream for us, that could be a potential conflict. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
I would make sure that wouldn't be conflict.
Well, I just want to make sure, I wouldn't want to take that opportunity away from them. At the same time, I wouldn't want to take that opportunity away from the town.
I don't think a single person like that would be a good idea for insurance. I don't think it would work.
Right. But I'm not sure, and I'm not done any research on the subject matter, but
If the town tells us to do it, then the town it's got our back. If you go out there and do it yourself, then it's you if you set somebody's house on fire.
right. Okay, any more discussion on this topic?
So I will reach out to our insurance carrier. I will try to get some of those information pieces and we'll discuss again next month. Or would you like me to send out an email prior to the meeting and we can have an email discussion? Either way you all would like to do.
I think that'd be good because I also feel like we're cutting short on kind of the plan for this year's. So we need to make a call on contract this year or trying to get this done. So I would go ahead and proceed with getting quotes. And then that way we can have the two options side by side.
Okay.
I think, everybody agree with that?
I agree.
All right.
And Madam Manager, I'll reach out to the fire marshal's office and get the application and the copies for the bills.
Okay.
It's a good thing. All right, next, new business. Council member appointment for seat vacated by council member Beasley's transition to mayor. Says I'm going to lead this discussion. Do you want to say anything first, or I know, I can go ahead and say this. We had our public hearing, what day was it on? The 5th, January 5th, to announce the applicants and the potential appointees. And we had discussion after the executive session, and so the floor is open for the appointment. And with that, I'll open the floor for that.
I'll make a motion for, after looking at the application, Beth Tackett, I'll let her come up here and sit with us on the seat. And we can put her in, reports.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, just in terms of receiving the resume, then Ms. Adair applied, right? And Mr. Aaron Gillespie applied, Ms. Beth applied. All three applicants have taken to serve this town well. In regards to Beth, because we had made a motion to nominate her, some of her involvement in the town, she's manager of Pack the Dragon, and she manages employees there. I did, and I brought this up to the council in discussing her qualifications for this position. But, and just to speak highly of you, this summer we had an engagement with a contracting firm placed in Maine, and Ms. Beth was one of the only business owners that attended that meeting, but she made an impression on me during that meeting because of her in the method in which she represented the interests of small businesses in rural Southwest Virginia. She expressed her concerns with some of the challenges that we face, and just in that moment, it was a good representation of what we hope our citizens in Tazewell will like. So for that reason, she has my support. Also, her involvement with Tazewell today, she's plugged into the community, and this term will run through the special election in November, right? But I can feel confident that she will represent this town well during that short term of service.
Any more discussion? All right, with that, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. And the motion carries. And we'll move forward to asking Clark Hurst and asking newly appointed council member Tackett to come up and swear in.
Since I was unaware who was going to be appointed, I want to get some information from her real quick.
While they're doing that, I'd just like to echo Councilmember Pond's sentiment that all three applicants were great applicants, and I love to see the enthusiasm and the I guess, the initiative to go out and try to influence the town, and that's great that we had multiple people, and just look forward to moving forward.
November 3rd is the election. So we'll put her.
And Miss Adair, since you've thrown your name out there that you would like to do civil work, if we ever have any slots open, your name might fill one of those.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you back up.
It's
I'm sure you might back it out.
I can't read my notes.
You got three gloves.
Okay.
Right over here, right? Right here.
If you would raise your right hand. I, and repeat after me, I, Elizabeth Tackett,
I, Elizabeth Tackett,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Code of the Town of Tazewell,
and the Code of the Town of Tazewell,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge all the duties
discharge all the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as a member of the Town of Tazewell Town Council
as a member of Town of Tazewell Town Council
for a term commencing immediately
for a term commencing immediately
and ending November 3rd, 2026,
and ending November 3rd, 2026,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my
so help me God.
So help me God.
Now come fill your seats.
Like, they meant it. Thank you guys.
You made me read that right here.
I know, I'm experienced now, okay, well, I was fresh, but it's like,
All right, the next order of business is to reappoint Clerk Jessica Hayes.
I will make a motion to reappoint Clerk Jessica Hayes.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And the motion carries. Congratulations. Next order of business is to reappoint Fire Chief John Thomas. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
Got a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you. Next order of business is to reappoint Town Attorney Brad Pyatt. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. All right. With that, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. The next order of business is to reappoint Town Manager Leanne Reed. Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
We got a motion? Do I have a second?
A second.
I've got a second. Any discussion? Okay, no discussion. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, the motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you all.
Next order of business is the first reading of the ordinance for closure of a portion of Bishop Street. Attorney Pike.
Yeah, we can't waive this. So I've got to read this. This will be an ordinance of vacation. First reading for tax map parcel number 094A7040000A will be the new designation for it. Be it ordained by the Council of the Town of Tazewell, Virginia, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 15.8-2006, that hereby enacts the following ordinance of vacation regarding a portion of Bishop Street which runs in an east-west direction and specifically located west of existing Broadway Street in the town of Tazewell, formerly known as North Tazewell. The affected portion of which street is more specifically shown is highlighted in yellow on certain plat showing survey for Kahali Tafus and Catman Tafus, acquisition of a portion of Bishop Street, Tazewell, Virginia. A copy of this map is attached to Exhibit A. The original map of the Peninsula subdivision where the second street was dedicated can be found in record in the clerk's office of search for Tazewell County in deed book 131 at pages 136 and 137. It is hereby established that pursuant to the criteria set forth in Virginia Code Section 15.2-2006, a public hearing was duly held before the Council of the Town of Tazewell at 7:15 p.m. on January 13, 2026, with the notice of said hearing published twice in the Bluefield Daily Telegraph and the notice being provided to the affected adjoining landowners. Following the offer of public comment by those in favor and those against the vacation of a portion of said street and none being offered, the public hearing is closed. It's hereby further established that during the course of subsequent regular scheduled meeting, the council on January 13, 2026, upon motion made and duly seconded, it was consensus of the council to vacate, discontinue, and close the portion of said street as identified by the yellow highlighted portions of said plat. A copy was attached here to the office for traffic, pedestrian traffic, and traffic of any other kinds upon conditions. That will actually read instead of January 13th, it'll read that for February. Because you just had a public hearing tonight, so I will make that change. The conditions being, number one, that in accordance with Virginia Code Section 15.2-2008, the adjoining owner whose lot or parcels immediately abut the vacated portion of said street road to the south shall be responsible for paying to the town within 60 days of the public hearing referenced above the assessed value on the value for the vacated portion in question, that value being determined by the Commissioner of Revenue to be identified and designated as follows. New tax map number 000A for a value of $1,000. That in accordance with the town subdivision ordinance, town code section 24-1 and following, the vacated portion of Bishop Street will merge with the existing lots of the abutting owner into one new and larger boundary. The new parcel identified by a separate tax map parcel number, which I indicated previously, such that the newly acquired lot or parcel cannot be sold, transferred, or subdivided, or sold or transferred separate from the original abutting lots of the new owner. And three, that the portion of former Bishop Street acquired by the new owner shall be subject to any and all existing utility easements presently existing therein, and to the parcel's future availability for the construction, installation, and maintenance of utilities necessary for the town of Tazewell. It's hereby further established and acknowledged by the council of the town of Tazewell that Kahali Tafus and Catlin Tafus, his wife, the individuals whose property abuts the vacated portion of Bishop Street to the north and south, has caused to be paid to the town the assessed value associated with the vacated portion of Bishop Street, which abuts said owner's existing property in the amount set forth here above. By the signature here below, the mayor of the town of Tazewell hereby acknowledges and affirms the town of Tazewell's council's adoption of this ordinance of vacation and the council's further direction that the original hereof be recorded as deeds are recorded and indexed in the name of the town of Tazewell and individual grantees as set forth here and below. It will be for tax map parcel number 094A7040000A, Kahali Tafus and Catlin Tafus, husband and wife, as attended by the entirety. With this first reading, one thing you need to know is council statute provides for a 60-day right of appeal. So, and also allows for 1 year for this act to take effect and to allow for the owners to pay for that acquired piece of property unless you designate otherwise. From my reading of that, I can put in here specifically 60 days from today's date. Therefore, that way, you've got a specific time they have to pay $1,000, and then we can go ahead and record at that time. So I will not have a request of the mayor after we have the second reading, of course, it'll be waived next time, I anticipate based on your waiving of another ordinance earlier tonight. We'll have to read it again, but it will still be that 60-day period from the date that you pass it for the actual appeal to take place, not necessarily by them, but by anybody in the public. The statute's really general from that. So we have that waiting period. But it also allows that we don't record this, which you would think we may need to record it, and then the appeal period runs. You may remember when we did the closure for, Chris, what was it? It wasn't Mitchell Street, it was there below.
Dialogue.
Dial Rock was the one, but no, the one in North Tazewell that we closed, and the owners then backed out.
Right. It's between Mitchell and Third.
Mitchell in third, and then so they backed out. They would have gone through with this and you recorded it. We had to go through with the vacation of that ordinance and a whole other process. So the reason why we're doing it this way is to avoid that problem. Doubt, based on what we've heard, that this one will not go through, because these folks are specifically wanting to do this, but they weren't here tonight, so who knows. But in any event, we don't have any action within 60 days. Following our reading next time, we'll go through, it'll be adopted, they'll pay $1,000, and this will be recorded, and it'll be at their expense, in addition to the expense of the public hearing. Any questions? Okay. We're still waiting on Mr. Riddle's plat as well. We have to submit the plat, which will be attached as an exhibit.
We'll get that. Get that in the morning.
Yeah, and that will be attached as an exhibit. I may have to change the language a little bit depending upon what Jim, how he titles it, Mr. Riddle. But other than that, as I've read it, other than changing the one date, as I referenced, this will be the actual draft that will be put in place and be signed off on by the mayor after it's passed in 60 days.
All right. Any discussion on that? Okay. Next, we have a mountain biking project update. Manager Reed.
We are still trying to obtain the lease land use agreements for the project, in order for us to get access to our property. And I have found a trail accelerator grant. This is through IMBA, which is the International Mountain Biking Association. The application actually opens on Thursday, January 15th. It closes on March the 15th. And this grant is specifically geared to trail planning and design. It is a matching grant, so it's 50-50. The amounts are $10,000 to $30,000. We do have funds set aside, and we will be receiving funds from the county. I would like to request to apply for this grant and use some of those funds for design and planning.
In order to apply, you don't need any affiliation with any. And I think with IMBA, they have pretty strict membership requirements regarding assistance that they're going to do. Is that, as far as you working on it, is that something that's a prereq for it? It's like you got to be connected, sponsored?
I have not looked at the application.
If you do run into it, let me know. I think I've got
Okay.
a few people who do it.
I don't know if the application is actually out there yet because it's not open,
Okay.
but I have not seen the application. But it's something that I think is worth exploring at least. It's an opportunity to use our funds to the betterment of a project and try and reduce some of the costs.
For sure.
Any more discussion on this? With that, I'll entertain a motion to have Manager Regan apply for, pursue applying for the IMBA grant.
I make the motion.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So some of these grants have to be the full grant. That's what I'm doing. But, yeah, it's good this way to get a full state grant, that way we'll have to
And on this one, through the county, which we're working with our easements, the county's given us $60,000 to facilitate the planning. So on this one, this is just adding to that, so now you got 90, everything goes well, you got $90,000 towards your planning design.
Just like in the, I just,
Yeah.
okay, I have to pull back, so,
Right.
if it grades good, it's gonna put stuff, I hope.
Understood. All right, any more discussion? Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Great. All right, next we have a recreation department update. Recreation Director Hicks.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Kenny Hicks, and I'm the recreation director for Lincoln Sheriff Park. I'm here tonight to give a progress report and ask for support for upgrades to the park. Since I took over the role of recreation director for the town of Tazewell during the last week of the 2025 pool season, I've had the opportunity to learn how everything works. I also had the opportunity to work some of the pool parties and shelter parties. Since taking the job as recreation director, I've been working hard towards revenuing myself by getting my certified pool operator's license. I have also opened up the old junior high gym up to our community, and it has been a great response as it is booked out almost every week by allowing teams in our community to practice volleyball and basketball in there. I am also working towards bringing other activities to the gym, such as adult co-ed volleyball and basketball leagues. On the 17th and the 24th of this month, I'm hosting 2 different middle-aged boys basketball tournaments at the gym. Kids Fishing Day was a huge success for our community. We had 167 kids come out and enjoy the event. We were able to feed over 250 people for free, and we completely ran out of food. I also took it upon myself, after speaking to Manager Reagan, to talk to WBBA News to have it broadcasted on TV. I feel like this is a very important event for the park and our community. This winter, I have scheduled a meeting to discuss the aqua park and let everyone know what upgrades that we need to do and have them ordered and ready to set up. All the upgrades are within the budget that was set the previous season. As of the week of May the 4th, we will be ready to start the install of the aqua park floats. I have also ordered 3 new grills to be installed at each of our shelters at the park. I made sure someone came and fixed the fence around the playground at the park because I wanted this park to be a place where kids can play safely. I've already taken applications for potential lifeguard positions and concession stand workers for the 2026 pool season. I will start interviews around the last week of February and first week of March. I'm also here to request funding for upgrades to the park's fields. If I have the backing of the council for these upgrades, I feel by upgrading the fields, they could be utilized significantly and bring in a great deal of revenue for the town. One way to utilize the fields and bring in revenue is to be able to host travel, softball, and baseball tournaments. Travel youth sports is generating around $40 billion annually. Soccer generates around $103 million annually in just the state of Virginia alone. There are 167 soccer clubs in Virginia. This is why we're seeing a growing number of youth sports clubs starting up in every part of the country. I have spoken with town manager, Ms. Reagan, about a soccer complex maybe being built at the old Rainy building. This could be a great step in the right direction to getting some revenue coming into Tazewell. In general, travel sports is growing because of the level of competition being played every weekend. Travel ball is the way most children get noticed by colleges and major programs. Travel ball sports helps bring children to the next level that they may be missing out on their local leagues. On average, to enter a team in a travel youth tournament, the cost is anywhere from $150 to $350 per team each weekend. For adult tournaments, it is normally $200 to $350 per team each weekend. Then everyone over the age of 12 is charged $10 day fee, and under the age of 12 is $5 to watch the games. At most of these events, teams set up their own tents to relax while they wait to play. Here at the park, we have the space to make that happen. When hosting travel sporting events, We have the playground and picnic shelters that the younger siblings could go play at while the parents watch the other siblings play ball. And still have peace of mind that their other children are safe. Also during the months when the pool is open and aqua park are operating, families could utilize them while at the tournament. Fishing is also an option at the lake. If we can do the research and have Lincolnshire fields upgraded and done right, we could have tournaments from 8U all the way to 18U. And we could also have major adult tournaments. With the upgrades to the fields, the money coming in from tournament fees for all ages would be astonishing, which would pay for the upgrades in a short time. Not to mention our kitchen at the park with concessions we can sell at these events. We could bring in so much revenue, we could sell a wide range of food out of our kitchen. I have two granddaughters that play travel softball, and I myself was and still am an athlete. So I'm dedicated and ready to oversee youth sports here in Tazewell if given the opportunity to do so. I would be appreciative and honored to have you all to trust me in being the new leader for youth sports here in Tazewell. I might not know all the sports rules, but when given a task, I will do research and strive to understand all the rules and regulations for all sports on Tazewell. I'm 100% in this job to make a difference in youth sports in this town, to not just be a man that holds a title or just here for a paycheck. My goal is to have this park and sports here in Tazewell thriving again with me and my future plans as recreation director. This concludes my comments. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Question on, the parking area out there. You have softball going or swim team going. Are you gonna try to work that in softball this weekend or?
yes, that is my
The
goal.
parking's getting pretty bad out there.
Yes, that is my goal. So if the fields are upgraded, I'm not saying just take it over for youth sports alone. You can have 8U one week, 12U the next week, baseball one week, softball the next week, adult tournaments the next week. I myself still play slow pitch softball. And you're talking about it's a big deal. In travel sports, like I say, I got two granddaughters that play. Every weekend it's anywhere from $300 to $400 for gate fees. I have spoken with this company called DC Fast Pitch Softball. And they said they could even have tournaments here and split the money with us or give money into us. Travel sports is huge right now. Soccer is one of the biggest revenues right now everywhere. And like I say, me and Miss Reagan have been speaking. You know, she showed me the plans for maybe possibly building a soccer complex at the old Rainy building. I think it's something that we really need to consider with how sports is growing as far as travel sports.
I'm just getting together.
Yeah.
Getting things together in reference to, when you go to the park, it's crowded.
Yes, it is.
Now, some way we can work something out in reference to the parking area up on top. That's where the fishermen go. They got to put their boats in the water, and sometimes they're blocked up, so I don't know how you can.
And I've spoken to the lady that owns the theater, and she said on the weekends normally it's not a busy time for her. So she said we can use that, because we got the bridge built there for overflow parking.
Right, I see.
So, we can accommodate it. Like kids fishing day, Mr. Beasley was there. The parking lot was plumb full. We had people park everywhere.
Anyway, before that, we shut down the spring soccer league.
Yes.
So that we would have, and that's what you're talking about, coordinating events, so that you don't overflow your.
That way you can get out there and not.
I know, and I believe we had this discussion maybe last time, as far as the parking up top, that's on top of the dam, so we're limited on what we can do up there as far as improvements.
Brad, is there a vote, is, reference to the signs we put up, no parking? Can that be, enforced?
You would need that. Look, do you have swim meets on the weekend?
Since I'm new to the job, I don't know that they are swim meets on the weekend. I think they're through the week.
They're just during the week, you don't have swim meets on the weekend. So basically, the parking would just be people coming to the park.
Yes.
For your pool, the tournament, perhaps the tennis courts, fishing.
I know what you're saying. I'm fine with the issue of getting a city park, but up there at the boat dock, it usually is blocked off. And then that's when a lot of fishing going on there whole lot. If you go up there sometimes and watch the fish, there's a lot of fishing going on. But like I'm saying, I just want to be safe up there with the signs up. If the signs can't be enforced, I don't know what you do, so they'll park wherever you want to park.
So in the past, we had a lease agreement with Lester Development that was to the left of the tennis courts. That lease was dropped. However, I could make contact with them to see if you all would want me to find out if they would be interested in reinstating that lease. And that would be for overflow parking.
That would be great. That would be great.
I remember that discussion, I remember that there was some.
It was for the aqua park. However, if we're gonna be having more events, more tournaments, more games, I can contact and see if they would be interested to reinstate that lease.
Yeah, we're definitely, we need to explore options on improving park.
Okay.
Yeah. And on, like me and Ms. Raven was talking today, on upgrades to the field, I don't think the outfield needs to be touched. The outfield field does not hold water. It's just negligence over the years, the infields have got terrible. So this is a quote that she gave me from 2024. So you're looking, this is completely new drains, everything, going all the way down to the base. You're looking at roughly around $66,000. And that's completely from the backstop all the way to your outfield grass on both fields. So.
So how bad is the top field? I know the bottom field is terrible, but how bad is the top field?
How are you looking at? The one closest to
The
the light?
closest to us when you come to the parking
The
lot.
one that's closest to us is really not that bad a shape.
It's not bad.
The one at the top is unusual.
Right,
That's
so,
what me and Ms. Reagan was talking about. It's unusual.
so what would it take to get, I mean, if we didn't have to fix the drainage, what would it take to get the top field closest to the parking lot in good order?
Getting it all the way, getting the junk off of it. Because over the years, I mean, they've added all kinds of stuff to it. They had a tournament one time that I actually played in myself that they put like wood chips down on a ball field. Why would you do that?
Right.
It's just, I don't know if the people before me had a mind for how to do stuff. 20 years ago, Lincolnshire, I'm sure all y'all been around here, was some of the nicest fields around here. Me and Mr. Willis played on them, we played in the league together, and he can probably confirm that. And we need to get back to that.
I agree.
Because the revenue from travel sports, in a short time will pay for it. Because it's growing. And why should our kids from here in Tazewell, Richlands, Bluefield, have to drive to Johnson City every weekend, 2.5 hours, and play an 8 o'clock game, when we got it here in our backyard if we have the fields upgraded? Or like soccer. I mean, I'm sure some of y'all's kids play soccer. So why do they have to drive away from here when we could build a sports complex and have our own tournament, or our own sports club, or our own soccer club? It's here for us to utilize, so we should be utilizing.
So I want to,
Rains out, getting that fixed up.
well, that's what I was gonna, I want to bring up a couple of items that we've discussed that we were, I think, that you mentioned as well.
2 pickleball courts,
So,
at least we challenge each other to 8. 2 pickleball. Okay, go ahead.
let me go ahead and we'll get there, okay? So, one thing you mentioned is, you might not know all the rules, and it's a lot. To implement this is gonna take a lot of, not just research, but it's gonna take manpower, it's gonna take coordination. And so we have discussed, and I'd like to take it to the next step, is to make a committee for youth sports. And have you involved in that?
Absolutely.
And have some folks from the different sports groups, Little League, youth soccer, softball, have you guys get together to where we can, Tazewell torpedoes and all of them.
Yes.
Coordinate these efforts into where we can build a sustainable system to where we can build leagues across different sports, utilize our facilities. One of the other discussions we had, we have discussed upgrading the Raines lot into a multi-use fields that would include some pickleball courts and other facility, walking tracks, that kind of thing. And part of the discussion we had, if I'm remembering everything correctly, was if we were to develop that section first,
Mhm.
that would relieve some of the use and make it easier to maintain those fields, and you would have another field to direct traffic to while you work on those fields so that you can do it properly.
I agree.
So, and I think all that could be done with a coordinated sports effort, so to speak. But, and then to go back to something else you discussed, the kids fishing day was an incredible success, and I applaud your efforts on that, and that was great. And I also want to applaud the rest of the town, because there was police officers there was EMS, fire department, public works, administration, everybody was there, and I thought that was great to see the community come together and put on a successful program. And things like that are what make a small town like ours tick, and that was a great sight to see. But I think when we're going to move to this next topic, and I think this will all wrap in some more.
That's why we put them like we did.
Right.
And I told Kenny kind of what was maybe coming, and that's.
So we'll move to the next item, which is recreation discussion, and Councilmember Wise.
Well, in this, can we move to agenda item K, just pop that up and discuss these all at the same time, because it does tie into recreation? It's just a change of order, you okay with that? You good with that? Okay. Well, I really appreciate you coming out and giving us an update. We've heard nothing but good things regarding your efforts and intensity, what you've taken on responsibility for this position.
Thank you.
So we're excited, right? Discussing how we're utilizing our recreation has been something that's been discussed with the town for several years now. Initially with the creation of the indoor sports complex, the cost on that pushed out of the way, so that opportunity has left. The real estate that we purchased in order to pursue that has been untouched, and at this point, I think we can generally agree that fixing that eyesore is something that is a priority for the town. And recently we had, I always screw up the name, Warhol Park, right? Yeah, got it right. That youth were using to practice with the football, and there was a baseball diamond, and backstop. So basically, gaining another space that we can use, tearing up the asphalt. We've got flooding issues out there as well, so if you add a green space, walking track, then it's a multi-use facility that gets our kids outdoors, and I think that's something everybody would like to get behind. Or many people. Somebody's always against it. But in addition to that, the reason to bring up walking track into that design, just to talk about that for a moment, is coordinating access to these fine facilities that the high school has built, these turf fields that we're seeing. It's an issue, and having access to go walk around a public track. So it's just a consideration. It doesn't scratch the itch for what the high school track coach was looking for with the former indoor facility. In recreation, adding to this discussion, glad you're here. I want to move youth soccer from the YMCA and bring it back underneath the town's management for the spring season, spring and fall season. And I love the YMCA, it's a wonderful facility. I appreciate the efforts that they do. They make a little bit of money by running it. Even though that revenue line goes away, we still support the YMCA through our cigarette tax dollars, and that's to the tune of $15,000 a year or more. Depends on how much we smoke. But, so the support for the YMCA from the town isn't going away. But in order to control the quality of the referees, to train the trainer, because we're made up of volunteer coaches, to train the trainers so that kids are getting taught fundamentals, this has been your effort. I think we can do that if we can manage it and bring it back underneath the town. So that's my motion in this. I'll make a motion at this point, and then I want to continue with the allocation of funds.
Zach, before you make that motion, you said soccer, we also mentioned basketball last time, right?
Well, we did, but, you know, that's past us now. We can wait on that.
Can I ask a question real quick?
I believe we have.
Well, I haven't stated it.
Yeah,
We're just having
okay,
a
go.
general discussion.
Okay, I'm sorry. How many's working for you out there? One?
Me and Rodney.
Is there any way you can give them at least 2 or 3 other guys to work out there with him to help him out?
During the summer months, we do have other staff out there.
Well, I can understand that, but last summer, I think it was just one out there helping him. But he's a good worker. Like I'm saying, can we give him 3 more out there in the summertime?
We are gonna be having budget work sessions very soon.
Well,
We will see if we can work that in the budget.
great.
All right. With that,
All right, so I'll make a motion to bring spring and fall soccer for the year 2026 underneath the guidance of, or whatever, underneath the management of the town recreation department.
I'll second that.
okay, I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? I would like to state personally, I feel as someone that is involved in that league, I feel like that partnership between the White and the town could be improved to run a more clean facility. I don't know that it's necessarily necessary to sever the relationship on this, but I understand if that's what council does, I will support that. And with that, any other discussion?
I don't think you sever a relationship, it's just, you know, the Y wants it for the notoriety. And everything's so compacted, the kids don't learn. You know, as volunteer coaches, you gotta wanna be there. And you gotta make sure all the kids wanna learn, not just for the notoriety when we have this program. And I think that's where our kids learn. And sooner or later, all the programs need to come back to the town. You know, I understand their goal is not to have the next Michael Jordan, but we have to teach our kids competition. And at the end of an hour of practice, we're all still friends, but for that hour, I want the best. You know, I want to be the best. And as far as Attorney Pike, I know he has a child that plays travel sports, and he can tell you what it's done for her and the effort she puts in. It's not for everybody. All the kids, you know, they might start out playing, but they might not end up playing. But we need to give them the opportunity.
Yeah, I think she got that.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so we got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the town taking over the spring and fall soccer league, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries.
Okay, and then the agenda item that was shifted around is the allocation of funds for future projects. Like I stated previously in the meeting, we're working on developing a comprehensive plan. In your all's emails, I believe it's on page 42 of the agenda packet. You have the items that list out what are American Rescue Act funds that have been spent on payroll and upkeep, and now those funds have been reviewed. And we've got essentially 1.6 in the sports complex fund. Perhaps we could just be clear and go over that real quick.
It's 1.6, I remember from 2 meetings ago.
Yeah, well, and I want to touch just briefly on the other categories. Into page. I apologize for not being there.
While you're looking, I'm gonna say one thing. Sooner or later, guys, we have to vote for those fields that were old Ranger lot. I mean, it's been 2 years, 3, 4, 5, really. We started out with the sports complex, didn't go, and then you went to soccer fields. David wants a pickleball court and possibly a walking track. The money's there. You need to make the decision. If you can sit on it and draw the interest, that's fine. I understand that, but we need to do it for our kids and for our citizens to put it to a vote.
And honestly, like Mr. Fox said, for the older generation, pickleball is a big thing.
No,
They
it's-
actually have major pickleball tournaments too.
For all generations.
It does good at the hospital, we get a lot of business.
Let's give Councilman
Okay, so going to that, that's page 44 on the agenda, if you, council packet, it's on the shorthand agenda. But in the LGIP for the sports complex, we've got 1.66 million. LGIP outdoor sports complexes, we've got 15,335. We have an LGIP for a hotel project, the tune of $12,149. We have an LGIP for a general fund reserve, and going back to the discussions from our audit, we're between the buoys and what we want for a general fund reserve, and I don't recommend messing with those funds. We have an LGIP local government investment pool. This is where we are collecting interest on this. For the mountain bike projects, between $359,083. All right, my recommendation with the allocation of these future projects is that we align our efforts. So currently we're developing a comprehensive plan. In that, we're going to be very pointed because some of the discussion that we've had over the last years, we want achievable projects that can be done and the town can see marked improvement. And we're trying to be limited in our scope so that you're developing a plan for a period of 5 years, you identify targets that you can hit. In this, in my recommendation of the allocation of funds, in my email earlier this week, I said this is over to you on how to execute. I don't want to tell you how to manage your personnel, how many to staff, and I don't want to tell you how to manage your budget in order to align your bank accounts. So I'm not partial to how you actually do it. My recommendation is that we actually align our local government investment pool, our funds that are collecting interest, to the projects that we're actually going to hit. So my recommendation and my motion will be to allocate, and we may have done this motion, allocate $30,000 towards the planning and designs for the outdoor recreation facility at the Rainy Lot. And the intent on that being a multi-use athletic park, because we don't want to focus in on just one sport. We have kids that need to practice football. It needs to be multi-use. That's how we get most use out of it. We'll need to reattack at a later time on the specs for what we're looking for in that scope to make sure that the additions are done. I want to allocate $30,000 from these funds that are listed to the design and planning and give the band, Miscellaneous, the authority to go and collect bids for those designs. The second item that I want to do is allocate $30,000 from these funds towards the renovation of what we know as the back cave. We have our North Tazewell improvement that is the Harbor Park Pavilion, Community Pavilion, that's going up the next stage. And that project could be to improve the facility that we have. There are ongoing discussions with Cumberland Plateau Planning District for where we're going to line up our funds. And we're going to have a matrix of grants that we could apply for. In order to initiate that process, I wanted to allocate $30,000 for that project for planning purposes. This one I don't want to initiate spending on just yet. I want to reapproach that. So that's my motion for those two specific items.
So we have, just to be clear, we have a motion to realign the LGIP funds to include $30,000 for the design and planning of the outdoor sports facilities at the Rainey's Lot, and $30,000 for planning and design of the North Tazewell property on Riverside Drive. I don't have the exact address. 1616 Riverside Drive.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. The intent would be to start Rainey's Lot. We've got more work to do on North Tazewell. We approach that one, but get our funds aligned so that we've got our priorities that will line up with the comprehensive plan.
that's being built and is subject to change.
Okay. That's our motion. I'll entertain a second.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nah.
Motion carries. All right, any other discussion on allocation of funds for future projects? Okay, next we'll move to item J, the Route 460 water line project discussion. Mary Reed.
A little bit of an update on the Route 460 project. On December the 29th, our crew had dug to prepare for the installation of a pressure reducing vault. That ended up being a very trying day because they hit rock and air equipment was not big enough to handle the job. So I would like to say a huge thank you to Gardner Incorporated. They came and had bigger equipment and they saved their day because everything hinged on getting that home to the specifications that we needed. So thank you very much to Gardner. December 30th, we had procured a crane to be on site to set the vault for that day. The town of Tazewell team was successful in accomplishing this task. It took a lot of planning and foresight, and ultimately the job was completed very successfully. January the 5th, the town team worked to hook up the vault to the distribution system because we had to cut the lines to hook it up to the distribution system. We had to do a planned water outage, and it ultimately resulted in a boil water advisory, which we knew was going to come. We did try to communicate that to the public to the best of our ability. Once it was connected, we took water samples and sent them to the lab for testing. All those tests came back that they were in the range of satisfaction for the Virginia Department of Health Office of Drinking Water, and they ultimately looked at the advisory. So that's just a little bit about where we're at with that project. Even though it is winter time, we are trying to still be active on that project, and I very much kudos to our team and to the crane operators and to Gardner. That was great partnership there. Something else that I would like to bring back to the table. A couple meetings ago, we had held a work session, and at that time, we had discussed possible rebates for the area that was affected for so long. I just wanted to bring that back up to you and see if you all would like to make any kind of movement and direct me to have that action.
There's a copy of suggestions in your
It is.
packet.
To our newly appointed.
All right. With that, I'll open the floor for discussion about the rebate discussion. I know we had all discussed wanting to do something for the businesses affected by the inconveniences and the project. Manager Reed has laid out several options. Email that out to us over the weekend if you want to say.
I emailed that Saturday morning. Just a brief overview. One of the items we had discussed was a bill credit for water and sewer. I based that off of the utility bill from September 2025. If we were to do that, I would have our treasurer go and do bill credits to those customers that were affected. That total would be $4,512.90. We also discussed, because of the dust and dust mitigation, we had discussed pressure washing. I did reach out to a local contractor that would perform those services, and I received a quote for the whole property, like the whole building. And, it came in about $20,000. So I recommend that we would give our customers the option, if they would like to have their property pressure washed, they could do so, and then once they would pay for it, they could bring us the receipt where they paid, and then we could reimburse 25% of what their cost would be. Another option that we discussed was mills tax for the affected businesses. I recommend doing the highest month of the mills tax to rebate back to the customers. That total would be $3,373.76. If you all chose to do all three of those recommendations that I had laid out, that's $12,998.86. I also would like to say that part of this would come from our water fund, part of this would come from our sewer fund, and part of this would come from our general fund. And I'm open to discussion.
One of the just questions I have, and this ties into legal, is, I guess, what's the vehicle in which we have the authority to issue these rebates in favor of power washing? I'm asking for your guidance on this one. In order to do water sewer, I guess you can take them each item, right? So we got a water sewer rebate. Do we have the authority to issue those based on projects like this that have impacted a series of business owners and property?
We don't have a mechanism to go our calendar, so we have to see what's available in the state and see exactly what there are limitations on the ability.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
Okay. So I'm just going in the series, so for reducing the cost of pressure washing the businesses and houses, and then also the rebate for the mill centers. Do we have a vehicle to deliver this? If we can approve it, are we outside the scope of what we're authorized to do? If we're trying to create a special incentive for folks that have been impacted by a project that just went about one and a half to longer than we anticipated.
Again, I can't answer the question off the top of my head. And I know we don't have anything in our town code for it. I have to look and see. You have general provisions within the charter to do certain things, but we have a general code provision. I'm not aware of anything on the state code about that. We have certain rebate programs you have in places like Virginia and private sector. We have our adopted provisions through our IDA for our business attraction grants. We are offering the taxes are paid and there are rebates given if you meet certain criteria. But that's actually just giving refunds or doing certain services because of an interruption for services. They call it that way, generic. And I'd have to do some research on that.
Can you do that?
Well, do research, sure. That I can handle. If we ever find an answer for you, it's going to be a matter of probably calling around other municipalities who run some of the circumstances and what vehicle literally they used statutorily to be able to do it. Because my first reaction is you can't, as a municipality, get rebates. As a general rule, there are exceptions to that. But for this type of interruption service, from a municipality standpoint, it's different. Like I said, when my cable was out and I didn't have service on my phone, it's a little different. You're not dealing with a municipality that's governed under state code. Under municipal corporation, it's different.
So in that, can you actually give us that, like a national, like write up, a legal opinion?
Sure, I can have some things to exactly done. I'll try to get it before next council meeting.
Regarding the timeline on this, because the paving is going to go on, right, this spring at the same location, when we were discussing it at the last meeting, kind of set like an artificial timeline for yourself of the spring, is that correct? Like basically I'm asking, do we have a time frame in which we want to get this action? Is that?
My understanding was that any pressure washing such as that, I mean, cleanup wouldn't be rational to do this time of year because of salt and spring. And then you have the spring season, paint, going to come back and paint. So I think we said our timeframe was basically to come up with a course of action and then initiate that action after paving. Yeah.
Okay. So we don't have to make a final decision on it. We've got, legal stuff outstanding. We've got the considerations and appreciating drawing on those. And it gives us a framework to think about it. But based on that, my recommendation would be to table it for the evening until we work on it.
We have consensus on that. Okay. With that, no motion in place, we will table that till the next meeting. Let's see. And then next point of order is town charter and code update discussion. Member Klein.
Apologize for the multiple agenda items, but the reason for adding this one to the agenda tonight is because it goes hand in hand with the update of our comprehensive plan. So you've got your 5-year strategy planning document, and we know based on the interim appointment process that we've got, our charter is out of date because of changes to the Virginia code that dictate the guidelines in which we put somebody on council when somebody resigns or when somebody resigns or quits and somebody needs to get bumped up. We had Attorney Pyatt had advised us that it's not good to send charter updates every year, and we want to tackle it comprehensively. So it's January, and I wanted to introduce that. Whether or not that line of effort is something that we need to focus on for the calendar year, and like what that would entail. So in reviewing it, I found a few, so these are kind of funny. When you go back and you look at old codes, a lot of this language was put in here in 1958. But just to highlight the need for it and to have a little fun, pointing out section 2-411, it reads, we have the power to prevent riding or driving horses or other animals at improper speed, to prevent the flying of kites, throwing of stones, or engaging in any sort of employment in public streets, which is dangerous or annoying to the passerby, and to prohibit punishment or abuse of animals. So, we're not doing much regulating of flying of kites, but I do think that this is me watching like war videos, like maybe regulation of drones makes sense within our municipality. So there's things like that. There's another funny one just for you guys on 2-414. And this one's to restrain and punish drunkards, vagrants, street beggars, and it goes on and on and on. But the language that I thought was interesting is like, to expel therefrom persons guilty of such conduct who have not resided therein for as much as a year. So if you're a drunkard or a vagrant and you haven't been here for a year, get out of our town. There's more examples. There's even another section in there where it says the mayor has the authority basically to go place people, bring them in for breaching codes. And that's, I didn't write that one down, so you have to go find that one yourself. So you got some powers that maybe you didn't see. Right.
We'll chauffeur you around. Like you do the enforcement.
And I've only got 2 more items on this. The other one that I noticed is in section 6-135. This goes into the comprehensive plan. It says the planning commission is to prepare or revise annually a program of capital improvements and assume for 5 years. So it's like in addition to this comprehensive plan, we're supposed to have a capital improvement program lined up. It's 5 years in term, and you rotate every year to make sure that you're focusing on the items that you need to. And I just don't see that in term. The biggest one, and this is what will cause some debate, appropriately should cost some debate is in section 3-1, which outlines the formation of our council. I want to entertain a discussion on reforming the composition of how our council is established. So currently we're made up of 6 council members and a non-voting mayor. A concept which you could introduce to this, and this comes down to pay. I'm not running again next session, so it will not impact me. It's not for individual purposes, but here's the concept. You go down to 4 council members plus 1 voting mayor. It's a redesign. Your IEDA is set up to have 7 IEDA members. Do you organize that to go down to 5? And basically, part of the reason for bringing that up is, one, I think the requirements of the job tough, and to me, $300 it's tough to recruit talent when you pay your council members $300 a month. So if you reduce that, you could increase the rate, perhaps. Your IDDA members, and as an example, you've got 7. Can you accomplish the mission with 5? So I'm not saying I believe in this, but I'm saying in looking at our code, there's some funny things that perhaps we can tighten up the language. But should we also look at the composition of our board and change it? The easy answer is no.
So you're saying you don't think you're worth $300 a month,
No.
but yet you pay the planning commission $75 a month for 1 meeting, maybe?
I've been asking for 2 years to pay the IEDA the $50 per meeting that we don't even pay them.
But everything the IEDA does, they have to come back and ask for our blessing.
But
So
still,
do you really need the IEDA?
Planning commission advises.
So do you need that? Maybe you up what you pay council and let them take on those roles?
Which role specifically?
Well, if they have to come back and ask for council blessing on everything they do, why do you actually need them?
Well, like using the planning commission, that meeting was pretty contested. Last meeting, there's this parcel beside the police department where the individual wants to establish an indoor storage facility, and it allows you to have another layer of bureaucracy, different, that is looking at specifically the zoning and the intent for the use of the parcels and the zoning within the town to advise the council. So,
But I understood both the arguments there. I understood what Benny was saying. When that clinic opens, 6 months down the road, that piece of property may be worth more. You might have someone want to come in and say, I can put this business there, and with that $6 million clinic there, CVS here and the police station here, I feel like I'll prosper. I understood what he was saying. On the other side of it, you've let Chopra put in storage here. You let him develop this piece of property for storage, and he wants to build a nice indoor facility with a nice storefront. I don't know how you tell him no. So I understand both sides, but at the same time, we were voted in to make those decisions.
right, and council has the authority to overturn those. It has to be a 4-2 vote, or better to overturn. It adds a layer that I think gives them an appeals process, all that.
Yeah.
But that's the reason I would see not changing the planning.
But if you go down to 4 members on council, then you give the mayor more power. He don't need no more power, do you, Jeff? You don't need more power. See what I'm saying?
I respectfully, I disagree. I think sitting in the mayor's position, you're probably just getting the brunt of this. But the number of emails that I received from concerned citizens regarding issues with the town is minimal. There may be 3 that email regularly. We all get interface when you go to the grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
But based on my interactions with Mayor Hoops, I think that the mayor is responsible for, the way I view the positions is this is CEO, this is COO, and your CEO is the external facing member of the organization representing the town externally. Andrew is responsible for running the operations. And that's the reason I give those titles, which differs from what our previous town manager did. That's the reason I'll get the mayor revoked. And that's the tiebreakers. So you got 2-2.
3-3. We never have a four of them, so.
I think
Ground
the
quorum
conversation-
problems as well.
One problem would be,
Quorum would be a very difficult situation. You end up, if you've got to have at least not a simple majority, which is under Robert's Rules of Order deals with procedure, you get into more substantive issues, and you have a council member that doesn't show up. You got 3, you got 2-1.
within the powers of the code, there's, I think, I can't remember who's got the authority, but to compel attendance. Yes, there's language in there.
There is. There's the ability to expel a member.
Right.
Upon a majority vote of all the rest of them too.
But it
There's a lot there. I think if you look around the state,
Yeah,
Just
county,
say now
state.
that you'll find that there's not only just a reason or justification, but what's been tried and true experience is both a good and harsh teacher at times. And you will not find, I encourage you to look, see how many councils there are across the state that have less than 6. For any municipality. Look at the number of board of supervisors for any county government. And you will find that their numbers there have been, through experience, have been tried and true for over 200 years in most cases. I'm not saying that you're thinking outside the box is not necessarily a bad thing, but those numbers have been there because of historically they've worked, not historically been broken. There are times, sure, that they get off the rails, but more times than not, they have worked historically.
Brad, the only thing I want to say is the county, I remember codes in reference to, they're so old, there's a lot of them in there that it's unreal on the charges that you can bring back in there if you have to. It's just like domestic issues. Go up there and beat your wife on a Sunday in front of the courthouse. It's in the code.
Gotta wait till Monday.
Now, this is, I don't want to get angry or mad or anything. This is ridiculous what's going this way. These codes are put in there. This code should stay in there. Don't touch. The 6 council members should stay as 6 council members. Don't touch. Let it be. If you want to add a code section, you got another line of code to put in. But you don't want to touch any of these codes.
It was a suggestion.
No, it wasn't even a suggestion, it was introducing a concept.
I'm just giving a point here. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying I believe it.
You got that down? Yeah. Point.
Well, I bring it up as a point of discussion. If you're looking at how you're gonna tackle the calendar year, perhaps looking at updating our code charter, which is needed anyway, because our appointment process is jacked up. It doesn't align with the state code. Maybe you look at comprehensive.
Okay, the next one's the charter that you're talking about, just leave it as it is. You don't know what's gonna be moving into this town. It could be something really bad.
The charter that David, the charter is different from your code. Your charter is an enabling mechanism for your town code. That's why you have horses and dealing with pigs on nation, a lot of other things, yes, are outdated, but they're very comprehensive to allow the adoption of specific ordinances that are contemporary in nature, not dealing with horses or pigs anymore, but are dealing with automobiles and drones and other things like that that are now in place that you need to have measures available within your code to adopt without changing the charter necessarily.
I can show you examples.
I know.
To speak, part of what Zach's saying, in the discussion and the appointment of me being mayor, there was, within our code, there were conflicting,
Within your charter,
within our charter, I'm sorry, I knew I was gonna say it wrong.
it's in the charter.
There were conflicting lines of how that process works. Those are the kind of things initially that sparked the conversation. But while you're looking at that, it's worth, as Councilmember Klein said, it's worth taking a look at it comprehensively and looking at all aspects of it. Not to say that they need to be changed by
And
but
we've got the power to keep the chamber in order. We've got the power if something really happens in this town, or if some natural law, what have you. You're the speaker for their council members in this town, and you're the mayor for this, for that reason. Now, Mayor Oaks was trying to take everything over, take issues, tell the council what to do and stuff. You know, that's bad. But, you know, the council member has the right to speak the peace, but and represent their town and help these people out. But we're going 40 miles out to the right or left, and we got senior citizens in this town, and you're gonna be old one of these days, and sometimes you might just move out of town and keep going. But I want to protect these citizens in this town. They've had enough. They've had enough. And they need something to work with in this town. It's different things that senior citizens should be able to do. So we're gonna get old one day and we're gonna ask for that stuff.
So to bring it back to Councilman Swan's point, these seats are for open discussion to give ideas. I understand your point, and rightfully so, you
Kind of be nice this year.
and you still displayed your passion on the subject. You're right. But for this discussion, I think we've got the general topic, and we will continue to discuss code enhancement.
The only thing I would say is how and when, like, when are we going, we need to get our section on appointments fixed.
So
Basically, we've been advised not to update our charter because you don't want to be doing that every year. I understand that process. I think it's to do it comprehensively. This is where the conversation originated. Like, do it comprehensively. We need to look at it. When's the due date? We got to get it to the General Assembly before they meet because that's one of the first things that they do. Is vote on those and pass those. And all I'm saying is, it's January. We've got a year out in front of us. We have a section we already need to update anyway. I gave you an example of changes that you could make. Clearly, it's something that should be debated. And are we going to work on it?
So, Attorney Pyatt, I know we discussed this once before, as far as like matching our code with state code, which is always changing, ever changing.
I've done it twice since I've been town attorney and working with prior managers. So I guess it comes up, and we've made multiple, I'll say at least 3 times that I've gone through both the code and the charter, specifically the charter, because you've got to go to the General Assembly for that authority.
So with that, would the council like to have Attorney Pyatt start that review to try to get a good match? Or is that what you're?
I will say this much. That is a very broad and expansive undertaking. You literally go through each of our individual chapters. There are 24 in this book that cover every range of manner of everything from streets and sidewalks to zoning, taxation, and that covers them in like fashion a very broad catalog of ordinances within the state code that in order to be comprehensive, it's going to be a very time-consuming and expensive proposition. What I've done in the past when working with prior managers and prior councils is when we've had an issue that's, okay, we see this, we know that it needs to be fixed. We ran across here with the vacancy, we address that. If we come across specific parts of the individual code that are due to changes in 46.2 or 18.2 that need to be changed to be brought in line, specifically under our zoning in chapter 23, that comes in 15.2 changes. Yes, but to go through, and And I really think that you need to think that through about how specific you want, or comprehensive, even better word to say, that you want to be in that work. Because it's gonna get really expensive time-wise, to do that. Can I do it? Yes. Is it something that you really want to think about how broad you want that net to be cast? Is
So
another
right-
issue.
So right now, can we just focus on the vacancy part?
Certainly. And we talked about this before, we just recently redid it. We've got actually going before the General Assembly this term dealing with our manager residency requirement. One of these sort of caveats that I received from assembly members and legislative aides, you don't want to go to the well too often. It's one where they think, oh, if they're going to be back here every year, wanting to fix something. So again, the comprehensive change is you want to go through and say, you want to do a lot of things at once. We did that under Manager Day. We took out an entire chapter, actually it's a chapter section that deal with justice and peace. Or it deal with the conservatories, but it's not in here anymore. We had an entire article within the charter which was completely outdated. So we took out that entire chunk of the charter at that time. It was a good example. And they were fine with that. But then, again, like I said, I've been doing it 30-some years now, and I've done it only 3 times. And we've done it twice here within the past 5 years. Just because we've had issues that have come up because of people keep wanting to resign and change the state code as we run across these things. It's happened. And it just so happens we had a mayor and council member do it at the same term. And then sure enough, here we've run into a problem with our timing because they did in 2024 change the state code, which then basically says charter notwithstanding, here are the new rules. So it can really and literally can happen almost every year. I won't say that it will, but certain changes, particularly under 15.2, which is the county and town part of the state code, that you will find those changes, and they happen every year. So it's one where you don't want to keep going back every time there's a change. You can't help it. The General Assembly is messing with the original foundation of the charter, which was adopted as a consolidated section in 1962. Again, going back to find the things we know we've got that are right in front of us, the low-hanging fruit. I realize the horses and things that are out there too, and kites. But those are your enabling parts of your charter. It says you can regulate all these things. It's very broad. If you look at those paragraphs are lengthy, they're half a page, just trying to think of everything at the time that the council might have come into play with dealing with everything from safety of your lit streets, to the operation of your sewer plant, to dealing with fences in your neighbor's backyard. All those things are very broad in the language they have there. Do you need to necessarily go in there and change that as it goes from kites to drones? Drones are there to cover without changing that. But when you get into conflicts, whether that we came across with the vacancy issue, yes, I agree with Lynn's assessment, Councilman King's assessment. Those need to be addressed because they are flat out in conflict. Not that you've got something that can be an extrapolation of law. Those are literally butting heads where you say, okay, one says advertise this way, another one says advertise another way. You have a term for an indefinite term, whereas you have to, it was problematic, and that one needs to be fixed. And we would not have come across it had it not been for 2 things: the vacancy, like we've done those before. We had Councilman Blankenship when he left, but then that was coupled with a code change in 2024, which then make it to where you've got an inevitable sort of circumstances that came to pass because of old drafting and changes to new law and state law.
I want to state my position on this regarding the frequency issue. In the state General Assembly, the General Assembly is changing rules that impact our operations. I'm just simply not going to feel bad for going to them to say that we're going to change our charter to match the rules that you're imposing on. And
I don't disagree with you on that. I'm the messenger.
Right.
Not the message.
Right.
on that, and I think in theory, you're correct, if they change it and you're out of sorts, you need to go back in and try to work to make a change and send it back up, if that's the case. I'm hoping this is not necessarily a one-off type of situation, but maybe it will be, but I don't know, I can't make any guarantees it will. Every time new people get elected to General Assembly, everybody thinks they've got to do their part, and, hey, I'm gonna sponsor this bill, or this piece of legislation to show that I'm doing my job. And there's some humdingers up there this term, if you go look and see what's been suggested for the plate of legislative requested changes in some of these bills. Oh, they're way out there. So, I wish I could give you some better, not only just advice, but in terms of outlook as to how to deal with it, because there really is no great way to do it. And my biggest thing is I don't want you spending a lot of, I don't mind my time. My expense is one that I just think you can spend your dollars better elsewhere.
All right, so kind of wrap this discussion up. Yeah, any more that?
No, I just wanted to point out some, I mean, why not? It's kind of funny in some ones. But we do have a real problem in that our charter's out of whack. We need to get that fixed. And then we need to make a decision on like content rating. We don't want to run up a big bill. It's on the table. We need to think about it this year.
Do we need a motion to have you start working on the glaring issue as far as the?
As it's general, I can work through the manager. I don't think you need to have a specific motion unless you specifically want to address it in the minutes that you want me to tackle
Well,
specific items.
I would suggest this to council, review the code and see if there's glaring issues to each of you. And
I think that's a good idea.
we can
And
come
you
forward
just
next
say
month
and
and
revisit
revisit.
something specifically to me.
But in the meantime, I would say go ahead and start.
I mean, the one I can specifically address is the vacancy issue, sure. But I think it's a better use of resources and time. I know it puts a lot on you all, but you don't want to be paying me by the hour to go through here line by line looking for things when you all can in your time looking for some insomnia cures. You can go through here and start looking through some of these things and say, wait, yes, and then bring it to my attention and we can address it that way.
All right. Okay, with that,
I'm making a motion with adjourn.
hold on. We're moving too far ahead.
Too small, no.
We have miscellaneous public comment, if there are any. We don't have any. And we have, council comments. If anybody would have a council comment.
I make a motion with adjourn.
I second that. I want the code to stay the way it is. I don't want to change anything.
So noted, so we had a council comment first. Now,
Now,
you have a motion
I'll
to
second.
adjourn.
I do.
All right, second. We have any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.